Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Newsbrowse News broadcast. The United Nations has warned that the ongoing U.S.-Israeli war on Iran, which commenced on February 28th, is projected to push more than 30 million people back into poverty. According to Al Jazeera, the administrator of the United Nations Development Program, UNDP, Alexander De Croo, stated that disruptions to fuel and fertilizer supplies caused by the blocking of cargo vessels through the Strait of Hormuz have already negatively impacted agricultural productivity and will lead to reduced crop yields later this year. This situation is expected to exacerbate global food insecurity, particularly in countries like India, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Somalia, Sudan, Tanzania, Kenya, and Egypt. De Croo also noted that the conflict's ripple effects have already erased 0.5 to 0.8% of global GDP and are straining humanitarian efforts worldwide, which are already facing funding cuts. UPI reports that Cuban President Miguel Díaz-Canel asserted that any negotiations with the United States are contingent upon Washington accepting Cuba's conditions, warning that without this, there is no negotiation. Speaking to Brazilian outlet Opera Mundi, Díaz-Canel described the current phase as very preliminary. His remarks come as Cuba grapples with a worsening energy crisis and increased U.S. pressure. Cuban officials confirmed a recent meeting in Havana where Washington reportedly set a 2-week deadline for the release of political prisoners, a demand rejected by Cuba which prioritized ending the U.S. energy blockade. Díaz-Canel firmly rejected any discussion of Cuba's internal affairs, emphasizing that dialogue must be based on equality, respect for sovereignty, and reciprocity. He also accused the U.S. of historical aggression and stated Cuba's readiness to defend itself, a stance echoed by former President Raúl Castro, who called for firmly confronting enemy aggression. UPI reports that Warner Bros. Discovery shareholders have given their approval for the long-debated merger with Paramount Skydance. This decision follows a protracted bidding war with streaming giant Netflix. Paramount's final offer of $31 per share significantly boosted WBD's stock, which had traded at 8 BTLs just a year prior. Netflix ultimately withdrew its bid, stating it was a nice-to-have rather than a must-have transaction. The merger is poised to bring Warner Bros.' extensive portfolio, including cable networks like TNT, CNN, and Discovery Channel, as well as the HBO Max streaming service and Warner Bros. Film Studio. Under the Paramount umbrella, billionaire Larry Ellison's $40 billion equity backing was crucial to Paramount's enhanced offer. The companies anticipate closing the deal in the third quarter of 2026, aiming to create a leading next-generation media and entertainment company that fosters competition and delivers compelling content to global audiences. Al Jazeera reports that Turkish MPs have passed a bill aimed at restricting social media use for children under 15. The new legislation mandates social media platforms to implement age verification systems and provide parental control tools. It also requires companies to promptly address content deemed harmful. This move comes a week after a tragic school shooting in Kahramanmaraş, where a 14-year-old boy killed 9 students and a teacher, prompting an investigation into his online activity. President Recep Tayyip Erdogan emphasized the need to safeguard children from the cesspools of social media. Turkiye joins a growing global trend, following countries like Australia and Indonesia, which have already introduced similar restrictions, and others such as Spain, France, and the UK, which are considering comparable measures. The main opposition, Republican People's Party, CHP, criticized the bill, arguing that children should be protected through rights-based policies rather than outright bans. Non-compliant online gaming companies face potential penalties, including internet bandwidth reductions and fines. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.